the history of algae research and the British royal family. A major part of the news this week has been taken up by the celebration of the Jubilee year of Queen Elizabeth II, who has reigned over the United Kingdom for 70 years. She is now the longest reigning British monarch. In honor of this achievement, let us take a look at the connection between the British royal family and the modern study of algae. King George III was one of the earliest royal influences on the modern study of phycology, which is the scientific name for the study of seaweeds and algae, the micro and macro, and even the cyanobacteria. During his reign, King George III preferred the country life and would often summer at Kew Palace, which was just outside of London. To create a peaceful oasis, his mother Augusta created a world garden, including the Great Pagoda, which became the foundation of Kew Gardens. These plants were gathered from across the globe by many of the king's fellow countrymen, like in 1768, when Sir Joseph Banks sent seeds to Kew, whilst on Captain Cook's voyage to the South Seas, and became Kew's first unofficial director on his return. Another fellow countryman was Sir William Hooker, who was appointed the first official director of Kew in 1840, and whose son, Sir Joseph Dalton Hooker, brought plants from the Falklands to Kew in glazed Wardian cases, which was a new way to keep plants alive on voyages. These men, who were exploring the globe and making discoveries that would fuel the Enlightenment period, all called Kew Gardens home. They brought their samples to the herbarium at Kew. This included samples of the earliest modern research into algae and the start of the study of phycology. Another institution influenced by King George III was the Linnean Society of London, at the Burlington House, when in 1802 the king granted a royal charter to the society. This powerhouse, known as the Linnean Society, would have many distinguished fellows, such as Robert Brown, Dawson Turner, Charles Darwin, and would be a home to many other great minds of the Enlightenment period. Following in her grandfather's footsteps, Queen Victoria would join the craze of the period, seaweeding, which was the art of seaweed pressing. It was even written that as a young girl she made a seaweed album, presenting it as a gift to the Queen of Portugal. Her passion for seaweeding may have added to the craze at the time. This seaweeding craze led to the involvement of many great female phycologists like Mary Elizabeth Barber, Ellen Hutchins, Amelia Griffiths, and many others. Today, Prince Charles uses seaweed fertilizers in the royal gardens. He has even written a book about organic gardening, continuing his family's influence on phycology. But it has not always been a great relationship between the royals of the United Kingdom and algae, as we can see from an article in 2013 titled, "Queen's View is Blighted by a Sea of Algae." Queen Elizabeth II's view from her front window has suddenly taken on a nasty tinge. She now has to look out on a slimy green coating that has covered the lake in St James's Park, just opposite Buckingham Palace. Ducks on the Royal Park Lake in London have found themselves entangled in the algae and weed. To be sure, Prince Charles, the royal gardener, was tasked for that cleanup. As we mark the 70th year of Queen Elizabeth's reign, who is the patron of the Linnean Society, and we look back at the history of the British royal family, we must remember the tradition of conservation and science exploration laid out by the House of Windsor.